Hello, everybody. Yes. How we doing, everybody? He's blending into the Joseph Newgarden car. Well, we can talk about first of all how I thought the hybrid system played a really good role for short oval for IndyCar. I agree, especially less Saturday night races too. Do we want to? Do you want to get into that topic right away, or you want to wait a minute? I was very pissed off about that last restart. Hmm. Nope. That is to me, that is going to kill Will Power's title hopes, to be honest. He's not out of it completely, but to me, that's kind of the first nail in the coffin right there for him. Yeah. You You want to talk about how many times Townsend Bell labeled that on the not the podcast, but the broadcast about Danny Sullivan? I was like, how many shots can you take in one night? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, wasn't there something that happened between McLaughlin and Newgarden or something supposedly? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Willpower keeps giving us the memes with the bird 10 years, 12 years later after New Hampshire. Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean, this year has been a bounce back year for him, and a lot of people probably weren't expecting that. But I'm glad for him to have a little bit of a bounce back year. Technical difficulties, folks. Oh, really? Technical difficulties, folks. Give us one moment here.
Mic check. Oh, hey, now it's working. All right, cool. All right, we're back. We're live. We're here. Cool.
All right, take two,
All right,
as they
sorry
would
about that,
say.
guys. I know I made some really good points talking about Will Power and his F bombs. So, I guess we'll have to just start all over. No, I'm not. I'm not starting.
Well, for the viewers at home that couldn't hear Gary's side, we were talking about the IndyCar race in Michigan, not Michigan, oh my goodness, Gateway,
Anyway,
and the last few laps of that whole race, the whole New Garden stack up.
yeah. And also, there was some IndyCar news that broke yesterday. Um, Meyer Shank Racing is changing their alliance from Andretti to Ganassi. And I know that there have been some rumors for a while now with Ganassi on the IMSA side, going to either Hyundai or to Honda Acura. So it sounds like, to me, that kind of just confirms it because Meyer-Shank is coming back with Acura next season in IMSA. So it seems like that's going to be an ongoing collective, alliance between those two organizations. And then, of course, what's his nuts gets signed to the 41 card, Andretti. Joe, help me. What was his name? Somebody got signed to the 41. Oh, it's Malukas.
Malukas, yeah.
Malukas is going to be driving the 41 next season at AJ Foyt Racing. I heard that it could be, something more than that, but right now, because I'll just go out and say it. Penske has an alliance with AJ Foyt. I think a lot of people don't really know that. It's not really known in the garage until it's Indy 500 time. But AJ Foyt and Penske have an alliance. I'll just go out and say it. That could be a future move for Roger Penske. For one of their guys are ready to retire and croak, so to speak, behind the wheel, he's going to be the next man up. And it could be that way for Santino as well. Santino's been with AJ the last couple of seasons. And Santino's been running pretty good in that AJ equipment, getting it consistent top 10s when, I don't think anybody other than Takuma was even able to do that on road courses. So, this is kind of the best run that Andretti's had in the last, sad to say. But it's just the reality of the situation where we're at. I thought the finish at Gateway was interesting. It definitely showed some promise. Where with the short oval package and the hybrid package, I think it could really be something.
I thought it was a lot better. I thought it was a lot better race than what previously Gateway would have.
Yeah, and Gateway's still always going to be interesting because you got the different fuel strategies. You got strategy A and you got strategy B, and even some people strategy C. This guy named Scott Dixon, yeah, he could pull fuel out of his ass. I don't know how he does it, but that guy can just save fuel at whim. And still be the fastest car on the racetrack. I don't know how he does it.
Well, it was interesting. It was interesting when we got past lap 200, and then all the guys were talking about, oh, these guys got to come one more time, or these guys got to come 2 more times, and all of a sudden you started seeing people short pit like crazy. I was like, okay, yeah. I guess they can't make it.
And then they had cautions. And that's the thing, too. With the hybrid system, I think people are still thinking, and I think the guys in the booth, no offense to who we have in the booth, but they're kind of thinking along the lines of the old engine package that we run forever, where, we know what the fuel window is. Where with the hybrid, we really don't know. We're still learning what the fuel window is. Could it be longer than what we've had before with the old engine package, or is it shorter with the hybrid? Those kind of things you got to take into account. But regardless, I think it's been great racing. That was probably the best one yet. I knew Iowa, like I said earlier when I was muted, Iowa was going to kind of be a crapshoot because they repaved, and with repaves, it's very one groove racing. So
and Stingray Rob decided to launch himself in the next stratosphere.
Maybe that's why he's getting fired.
Who knows?
I'm just kidding. I like Stingray Rob. Actually, one of my buddies, that's actually Stingray's fiance.
Okay. Wow, that's cool.
One of my buddies knows her.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I mean, he's actually trying to get him to iRace with us potentially.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I hope
I know before we want to go flip over to NASCAR weekend and recap that, you want to talk about Portland. Portland's going to be the last road course race of the season. Everything else is ovals.
Yeah, Portland's going to be the last one. I was just looking at the schedule for them coming up here, and
that's always my favorite road course race of the entire year, not going to lie.
I mean, I would just love it if Portland was racing. But yeah. We got Portland coming up this Sunday at 3:00 Eastern on USA.
They're going to be going head-to-head with the Truck Series in Milwaukee, too. Same time window.
So we'll have the ARCA race, the truck race, IndyCar race. We'll have a lot to talk about Saturday night time because Xfinity and Cup live from Daytona. Second to last race of the regular season. I know it's been the finale the last couple of years, but with the Olympics, it kind of threw everything off. And Darlington's going to be the finale. But that can really shake up the playoffs, and it will shake up the playoffs if they get that race in, of course, and it's that rain delayed. Because we always got to talk about that R word when it comes to Daytona, right, Joe?
Especially in
Especially in August. Seems like it rains every day. So
yep.
But like I said, I think it'll be a really good showing next weekend. Got a lot of racing on the calendar, that's for sure. Yeah, Portland, like I said, that's always I don't care if it's the Xfinity Series, I don't care if it's IMSA, I don't care if it's IndyCar. Portland just seems to put on a really show. I like watching racing. I don't care how old they are for many.
And I think out there too, that fan base out there in the northwest part of the country, that they need big time events out there.
Yeah, and they don't get them very much. They just don't. I mean, the closest thing that they got to them is Sonoma, and IndyCar doesn't run there. Only NASCAR runs at Sonoma now. So it's one of those things where it's like they really only get one event every year that's even remotely close, and it's not even remotely close. It's still out there for those guys up in Portland. So, I'd love to see a cup race in Portland eventually. I don't know how that would work into the schedule. Like if they never go back to Auto Club ever again, hey, we could go to Portland instead. I mean, hey, we don't need LA. LA who? LA Night? Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Shoot. I mean, we don't need the Los Angeles market. I'm sorry. We raced without the Los Angeles market for years, between 1980 something to 1990 something. Speaking from a NASCAR perspective. So, from Portland, it's more fun. Plus, it's another road course, and everybody likes road course racing. I still think they need to get rid of the Chicago street race and have them go to Speedway, Illinois. I think they
agree.
need to go there. You heard it here first on this channel for Speedway, Illinois. But I think I don't know. I think we've got a lot of good stuff coming up, racing wise. Looking forward to that. So
you want to shift to?
Let's go ahead and talk about guys. We didn't make any notes this week. At least I didn't. For this podcast.
We're freestyling this. We are freestyling.
Let's talk about ARCA that I didn't watch on Friday night at Michigan. We'll let you take the lead on this one. I guess Connor Zillage went out and whooped the field on Friday night.
Connor Zillage whipped the field. Especially with him just signing to JRM next year. He'll be going to race in the Xfinity Series next year. But Connor Zillage, Connor Zillage continues to deliver on the ARCA Series. And I mean, a limited amount of starts that he's had, he's won.
He's won every one, right? Because I saw that he had made, prior to Michigan, he had made like 4 or 5 other starts, and he had won every single one of them.
Yep.
So that kid's got a lot of talent. I know that there are some people that we know that would prefer him to be an IMSA or IndyCar because he's got that Trans Am background. But it seems like he's going to be in NASCAR, which, hey, it is what it is. He's got that development deal with Trackhouse, which I thought was a very smart move on Connor's part. And I think it's very even smarter for Trackhouse to align with Junior. Because we have seen the last few years that has been the superior Xfinity team over Colleague.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I like Colleague, and as much as I like Chris Rice and Matt Colleague over there, they were kind of a flash.
Down.
They were kind of a flash in the pan. I think they're running one too many Xfinity cars. Actually, probably two too many Xfinity cars. Because it just seems like their personnel are kind of spread out. They're trying to run 3 cars full time in the Xfinity Series. And also run 2 cup cars full time. Maybe with Stuart Haas laying off 323 employees, and we'll talk about that later. Laying off 300 and some people, maybe Colleague could pick up a few for next season. So, but Connor Zillage, hell of a race car driver, good win for him on Friday.
You want to flip to Sunday?
Lap? I heard he led every lap.
He about led every lap.
Okay.
As far as I remember.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, Saturday, let's talk about the car that got airborne, Kyle Sieg. What did you think? And I listened to Door Bumper Clear today, so I did prepare a little bit. But tell me about your perspective of the Xfinity race last Saturday.
Well, I thought it was entertaining. I know they were running the same package as they did at the Brickyard, which is basically super speedway. Low horsepower. And I mean, especially on the restarts, you saw them going 2, 3 wide like they would at Daytona or Talladega, and then the field would spread out after a while, which is normal. But I thought the race overall was very entertaining. I know you and I were discussing when that last rain delay came out, where there was like going into overtime. It's like, all right, just end it. But nope, NASCAR decided to
The
try
same guy won the race if they would have just ended the race. Just saying.
Yes, Justin Allgaier did win,
I'm
but
just saying. My boy
but that
Allgaier finally won something.
that last restart was insane. I feel bad for Carson Quaffle, who was in literally position to win that race if that
Such a
rain came
great
like
run that day,
yeah.
that entire race. Funny, I was listening to DBC today, and TJ Major was spotting for Carson this weekend, and so we all know when when Austin Hill spun across Carson Quapple's nose, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we figured out, or they figured out on DBC that it was Austin thinking that he was clear, and his spotter never told him that he was clear.
And he hooked himself.
So he hooked himself. And so I guess it was later on in the race, they were near each other on the restart. I think Carson was in front of Austin, and I guess he keyed up to TJ and was like, "Do you think Austin Hill's going to be a mad person when he comes up and races with me? Is he going to be a quote mad person?" I thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty funny.
Honestly, like, that was Austin's own fault. And I know there's a lot of Austin Hill fans out there, but that was his own day. Like, you can't just assume that you're clear and make a move like that. That was stupid.
I agree. But to get to your point on the Kyle Sieg flip on the last lap, that was insane because when's the last time we saw a car flip like that at a non-super speedway track? And I think a lot of it had to do because I even heard this from I think Corey LaJoy's podcast today. There was a heavy headwind both days at Michigan,
right.
20 to 25 miles per hour. But you also had Chandler Smith pushing that car up. But I think it was just a combination of the wind, Chandler Smith pushing them, and then how fast they were going. That thing was just going to take off.
The roof flaps didn't deploy either, though.
No, they didn't.
And we haven't had that. It looked like a pre-90s wreck. Joe knows what I'm talking about because he's still listening. He's seen the cars without roof flaps. He's seen races with the cars when they didn't have roof flaps. They didn't deploy. It looked like a 1990 wreck. It really did. Seeing that car go upside down. Honestly, it's just one of those things where if I'm NASCAR, I'm hoping I'm taking that 29 car or 28 car, whichever car number Kyle was driving this week, to the R&D center and checking it out. I'm looking to see, what could we improve to make sure these roof flaps deploy properly next time. That's what I'm looking for.
They're gonna have a quick turnaround with Daytona on Friday.
Well, and luckily they won't be taking the same car. So basically, it's basically the same package as they would in an intermediate as far as like the aerodynamics. But as far as racing, the engine package is basically the same. So we got some comments in chat here saying everyone is so dark. See, Ryan, I'm a dummy and I accidentally packed all my lamps. I'm in the process of a move, y'all. So I packed all my lamps, so I don't have a lamp this shine my bald head. And then Mike just likes being in the dark. So
I mean, I still got my desk lights lamping up, so I mean, I'm at least a little bit bright. You don't want to see me be with a full-on light. It's gonna be too white for anybody.
We're gonna be blinded by the white. Anyways, so clouds. It's gonna be Joe Newseed if he keeps up his bullshit. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, that's great. That's funny. That's great. Okay, so talk about the Xfinity race. I thought it was pretty good. I think Michigan, how worn out that track is starting to get now. I think you could get away with taking the place.
I agree.
I think they're also worried about the ego of the Cup drivers being hurt because they can go faster than the Cup cars.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
And it's the with the flip, you gotta make sure those roof flaps are deploying. I don't care how strong that wind is. That's just one of the things you you got to look at it as a sanctioning body. And I'll talk about Corey LaJoie's flip here in a little bit, but I thought overall though, I thought the race was pretty solid. Restarts were entertaining as hell as always because 3 and 4 wide at Michigan, one of the widest tracks we go to, one of the fastest tracks we go to. I thought it was a pretty solid race throughout. It did get a little boring at times, and as cars got strung out, it was impossible to pass. I mean, that's just the reality of the package at Michigan. But I thought it was a pretty solid race, and we did see different fuel mileage strategies play out too. So you got to see a little bit of everything at Michigan, which I thought was great.
I know when we touch on like the news from the week, but as we were speaking of Zillage going to that 88 car with, we'll break it a little bit early, but because we'll talk about it later in the news and notes, but Sam Mayer leaving Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah.
I was going to say, well, Haas Automation came out with Sam Mayer and Sheldon Creed. They're going to be going to Haas next year. My thinking was that since Zillage is going to take that 88 car, I'd like to see Carson Quaffle take that one car.
Well, it depends on if they're going to run 4 or 5 cars.
True.
If they're going to run 5, I think no brainer. You put Carson Quaffle in that car. Could it also mean you got some other moving pieces there? Allgaier? I don't think he's going. Kind of been
Sammy Smith
boy for about a decade now. Maybe Sammy Smith. I don't think so. That's a multiple year deal, and plus, Junior Motorsports loves to pilot people when they had Michael Annett there for a while.
Brandon Jones Jr. likes Menards and Richmond water heaters.
Yeah, if we could keep playing that ad over and over and over, I think I'd be a millionaire by now. One of many ads that I mute when NBC's on. But no, I think it's just one of those things where they could run 5 to full-time cars, but I don't know. Could they do that on a weekly basis? They've never really done that before.
No.
So that's just something that if they had the sponsorship money, I'm sure Kelly Earnhardt and Dale wouldn't hesitate to run 5 full-time cars if they have the resources to do it. We know how sponsor dependent the sport is right now. Could Carson go to the 1 car? Sure. I mean, I think with Connor going to the 88, I think you're going to see something similar to what they've done with SVG, with him being a colleague, and that's just putting on, basically Trackhouse sponsors for the whole season, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what you see as far as that goes. It'd be interesting to see how they unveil those plans over the next few weeks. Sam Mayer going to Haas is interesting. Honestly, I was kind of surprised by the move.
Was too.
I thought we were going to announce him going to the 3rd front row car here next year, but hey, that's the sport of NASCAR for you these days. Kind of surprising at every turn.
And then Sheldon Creed getting a 3rd new team within 3 years.
Either he's doing something to piss people off everywhere he goes, or he just can't find rides for real. I don't know what it is.
Make sponsorship issues?
I mean, obviously not so much when he left RCR, because Whelan's still on that car every week for Jesse Love. I don't know if it's a sponsorship issue with Gibbs, or if Gibbs is wanting to scale back on their program because they're running 4 full-time cars and they really only have 2 full-time drivers.
Yep.
Chandler Smith and Creed with the 18 and the 81, and then you've got the 19 and 20 that's been on a rotation of drivers for the whole season, going for the Owners' Championship, which I know Gibbs likes to win every season. Is that Owners' title?
I know that we're mentioning people that we would think would like to see with Creed going to Haas. I'd like to see Ryan Truex get a full-time ride there.
That would be nice. In like the 18 or the 19, put him in a car, see what he can do for a season. I mean, we've seen what he could do already. I think it's just one of those things where we've seen him in full-time rides before, and he doesn't. I wouldn't say he underperforms, but he was the bridge guy between Blake Cook and Justin Haley in the 11 car at Colleague there, 2018 or 19. He did okay. He missed the playoffs. Wasn't spectacular. He was all right, but I think he did what the equipment was capable of doing at that time, which was doing okay. When he was in the truck series with Hattori the year before Brett Moffitt took over the ride, he missed out on the playoffs there too. Didn't run so great. Next season they put Brett Moffitt in the truck and they win the championship. So
Well, my thing is with that too, Gibbs is a whole lot different than
that is true.
Paulig.
This would be his best opportunity, and we've seen that, in the right circumstances, he can win races. If we go back to his K&N days when he was driving for Michael Waltrip when Truex was there, he won 2 K&N titles back to back. Back when it was the K&N series. So I mean, what is ARCA East today? So I mean, we've seen time and again, when he's in the right situation, he can go out there and win a lot of races. So I'm hoping,
Nice.
if he's able to get a deal done full time, that he can go out there and win, and make some noise in the Xfinity series. I'd love to see that for him. But
I mean, with the Haas thing too, a lot of people thought Deegan was going to take one of those rides, but
yeah, with that
didn't
rumor
happen.
with Joe Custer saying, yeah, we talked to Haley Deegan.
Militarized. I was not surprised about that, and everybody got their hopes up, like, oh yeah, she's going to take one of those rides. It's like, I don't know about
I don't
that.
know about that. I don't know about that. So it's gonna be Sam Mayer in the 41, and who was in the 00?
Sheldon Creed. There we go. I had
Creed.
my mind think about that.
And then they've got Cole Custer going back into the Cup Series, which, I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised. He won an Xfinity title. He's the reigning Xfinity champion. You got to put him in the car. Got to. But,
Yep.
So let's go ahead and talk about Cup. Let's talk about the Michigan 350, because that's what it was yesterday. Because we got 300, because we got 100 miles in the day before. NASCAR. Move up your start times.
Yep. Well, especially with track with no lights. Especially with no lights.
Do it. Just do it. Do I need to get the Shia buff? Do it.
Do you need to insert David?
Do it.
Do you need to insert David Land and say noon?
Noon start time, 1 o'clock start time. I don't give a damn. Something that's not 3 o'clock. Okay? Like, you need to move the start times back, man. You gotta move them back to noon, 1 o'clock. That's where it works, man.
I don't know.
Especially this time of year where there's threatening to rain every day in the Midwest after 3 o'clock. You gotta move that stuff. You gotta move it to 1 p.m.
I don't know if you were listening to the teardown, but Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Gluck had the same conversation that you and I are having right now. Jordan Bianchi loves later start times because you think about it, you get a larger TV audience at the 3 o'clock and then feeds into prime time. But Jeff Gluck's like, well, especially at tracks and no lights, the 1 o'clock, the noon start time would be a lot better.
Jordan Bianchi, I've never really cared for your opinion. I'm just gonna be straight up, and I'm a nobody, so I don't care. I really don't care, because he's all about the chaos and the BS. Where Jeff Gluck is more of a racer.
They call him the Bianchi bomb for nothing.
Saying, I mean, he probably thought that was the greatest move that Austin Dillon ever pulled at Richmond. Let's be real. I'm not the greatest fan of Jordan Bianchi. Let's just let that be known. But no, they got, even, like, I get it why NASCAR wants to get the maximum dollar they can get. I get it. They can, help give it out to the teams or whatever they're going to use that money for, right? But at the same time, it's like, to keep the owners happy and the teams happy, 1 o'clock start times. Just do it. It makes too much sense. People go to church, they come home, they go watch the NASCAR race, they go to bed. I mean, that's just the way it is on a Sunday, okay? And if it's during football season, you go to church, you go watch football, you take a nap, you wake up, you watch the 4 o'clock game, you go to bed, okay? That's just how that works. That's just how it works, people.
Yep.
1 o'clock start times. You just got to do them, man. I get it. You want to try and get the LA people to watch a damn NASCAR race. It ain't going to work. Ain't going to work. Just 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock start time. Pull the trigger on it. 1 o'clock. You're in, you're out, you're done. I mean, it's just, you don't have to worry about weather as much at around that time. I love the sport, but I don't know if it's just one of those things where there was a question that was brought up on Denny's podcast. Would you take less charter money if that meant moving the start times up to 1 o'clock? Denny gave a very non-answer. To me, if I'm a team owner and I'm sitting here trying to attract all the fans because we want to give the fans at the track an experience, I could give a damn less. about the people watching at home, and I'm counting myself because I watch at home almost every week. There's a couple races I'll go to per year, but most of the time I'm watching it at home. If that means I gotta watch it at 1 o'clock and it's all on big NBC or big Fox, great. That's what the fans want. They want the 1 o'clock start time. They want it all on network television. They don't want to have to pay for it. That means getting less money. Then it means getting less money, and teams are just gonna have to get the sponsors.
Well, Kyle Larson had a very popular tweet Sunday night too, where he said he missed the start times from his rookie year, and everybody was like going off about that in a good way because they're like, "Oh yeah, we do too."
Yeah, we missed it too, and we missed the 900 horsepower, but that ain't coming back either.
Nope.
Not unless they get a hybrid, and I don't think that's gonna happen either. It's just, I feel like the answers for NASCAR is right there in your face, and they just proceed to not, they're forcing their agenda, and their agenda doesn't work. There will be a split eventually. It will happen. Like in our lifetime, there will be a stock car split. It's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna be with the Cars Tour. Why do you think she hasn't bought a Cup team yet?
That's a good point.
Just throwing that out there for y'all today. Do with that what you will. I think there's a little bit of truth behind it. But I thought the Michigan race, honestly, coming down to it, getting to the racing portion, I thought it was pretty solid. From what I was able to watch, I thought it was your typical Michigan race. You had really exciting restarts, then it got single filed out. It had some good position battles throughout mid pack. And you had strategies all over the place. I thought it was a great race.
I agree.
The Corey LaJoie flipping, similar to how Kyle Sieg flipped the day before. Honestly, Joe's going to love what I'm getting ready to say here. Get rid of the flat bottom cars. I agree. I think Corey LaJoie flipped because it was a flat bottom car. Say what you want about wind. Say what you want. I don't care what you say. The way these flat bottom cars are, and the way that they seal off the air, where the air has no place to escape in this next gen car, they're going to take flight. I don't care how many roof flaps you got on the damn thing. I mean, look at Ryan Preece last year. Grass or no grass, he's going to flip anyhow.
Yep.
Like, you got to do something to keep these cars on the ground. Get rid of the flat bottom cars. Just, go look at under my passenger car. I don't have a flat bottom. I'm just saying. I don't have a diffuser down there. So why do these race cars have diffusers? Take the diffuser off, take off the flat bottom, let these guys build their own race cars. Literally, the Xfinity car, 900 horsepower. You're welcome. I solved your Cup car.
And it'd be a lot more safer too than what these cars are.
I get it. You want to build these cars more rigid to make them more durable, and you can use them week to week, but for the safety of the drivers, I don't know if that's necessarily worth it.
Well, Jeff Burton and Steve Letarte were really going off. Especially Jeff. Jeff Burton was really going off about the Corey LaJoie flip on the broadcast. That's what I could watch yesterday.
Oh, the roof held up. Okay, Jeff. Great, the roof held up. That's awesome, man. That's great. Talk about the flat bottom car and how we need to fix that problem.
Yeah, because that thing took off way too easy. I mean, that thing hit.
At least with freaking Ryan, with Kyle Sieg's flip, it took a little bit of effort.
Yeah. But no, I mean, LaJoie hit Noah Gragson, turned left, and that's it.
It looked like one of those 1987 blowovers on iRacing. Seriously.
Well,
it did.
It kind of reminded me of Harrison Burton at Daytona in 22 when that thing just took off.
Yeah. So they've got to do something to fix that. They really do. I don't know what the solution is, but they got to fix it. I'm not an engineer, so I could just basically say whatever I want, and it's in NASCAR's hands. They got to fix it. So. And
Kyle Larson, the greatest motorsport driver in the world, possibly losing that car on his own. Denny Hamlin lost his car on his own.
It's a hard car to drive. I mean, we see it week in and week out. We do. By the way, that last caution shouldn't have came out.
Oh, with Truex, yeah, that was not worth a caution. But then, you know what that costs? That cost Ross Chastain playoff positioning because he wrecked on the next restart. So all thanks to Truex hitting the wall. But
we could blame a lot of people over the last few weeks. We could blame Cindric at Nashville. We could blame Ricky Stenhouse last week. Martin Truex this week. It's just it's wild. It's crazy. I don't know. Hell, I say just go back to the old point standings, and if the guy wins the championship by 2 weeks, and he wins the championship by 2 weeks, who cares? I mean, people just need to get credit for a whole body work, and the playoffs don't give credit for a whole body work. I mean, look at Austin Dillon. Look what he did 2 weeks ago.
Oh, we can mention that now that his penalty got taken from him. Not the win got taken from him, but the playoff berth got taken from him, and his win spotter got suspended 3 races.
Yeah, we had a Brett Griffin spotter race at Cup.
We did.
It was great.
So, and then Logano got fined $50,000 for his thing. But the interesting thing is with going into Daytona, and if you want to mention the playoff standings right now, before I mention this part, Austin Dillon's appeal is on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So we're going to find out if NASCAR is going to rescind that penalty or not. See if he's getting the playoffs.
Well, it's out of NASCAR's hands. So basically, how I've been told that that it works is they appeal, so they get to state their case or whatever, and then they bring it up to the appeals board, and then they decide essentially. It's not NASCAR. NASCAR does not have a decision on what happens after the appeal. From what I've been told. I will say, Kyle Larson's little wreck did cost him 3 positions in the standings, and he is no longer the regular season point leader.
No, he's not.
He cost himself 7 playoff points, going from 1st to 4th. And he is 32 points back. That's gonna be a gap to make up. It's actually right now for the regular season title. It's between Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick by 10 points.
If you're asking me right now who's probably gonna win the regular season title, it's probably gonna be Tyler Reddick with how hot he is.
Oh, with how good he's been running, there's no question. So your playoff grid, the way it looks like right now, you've got Larson with 4 wins, Denny with 3 wins, Christopher Bell with 3 wins, Tyler Reddick with 2, William Byron with 2, Ryan Blaney with 2, Chase with his win, Brad with his win, Cindric with his win, Logano with his win, Suarez with his win, Alex Bowman with his win, and then you've got Truex, Gibbs, Buescher, and Ross on points.
But
and Ross is only 1 to the good going into Daytona over Bubba Wallace, and we know how Bubba is at Daytona and Talladega, where he runs very well.
And if you look at anybody else behind Bubba, Kyle Busch minus 93, Chase Briscoe minus 115, that's when to get in.
I mean,
those guys.
From 18th all the way down to where the hell is Austin Dillon? 29th? From 18th to 30th, it's winning in. I mean, that's what you're looking at there realistically.
Now, this can all change too with tomorrow's appeal.
Yeah, because then you just move basically everybody down. So you got Truex, and then it would be Gibbs and Buescher. And Buescher would be in by 17 at that point still, if my Bible college math serves me correct. So that just makes it a whole lot more interesting.
Yep.
For those last couple of races. So tomorrow's appeal rather, is going to mean a lot as we're going live here at 9:32 Eastern on a Tuesday night. So, going to be interesting. I will be intrigued to see what NASCAR and what the appeals board decides tomorrow, because NASCAR is going to give their side, RCR is going to give their side, and then that's when that decision is going to happen. And I would not be surprised if we find out by Friday. We'll probably find out Friday on what a decision is, if not next Monday. That's just kind of how it goes. So,
yeah.
Would be interesting. I'm hoping that they do it before Daytona. They come to a decision, because that's going to be very, very important for the picture of these playoff guys. Because then Kyle's definitely a winning in. Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland is a winning in. Even Bubba to an extent. And Kyle runs really well at Daytona, and he runs really well at Darlington. So he's got 2 tracks that he's won at before coming up that are good for him. But Kyle hasn't won since the repave, I don't think. So
No.
other than I think like a Budweiser duel back or Budweiser uh,
Yeah,
Bud
the Budweiser
shootout
duel.
back
And,
in
yeah.
2012 or whatever.
Yep.
So I mean, he hasn't won. He hasn't won at Daytona since the COT.
Yep.
Wild to think about.
It is. And well,
So,
he came within 3 laps of winning the 500 a couple years ago, but that's a whole different conversation for another day.
well, if it was the 1998 rules, he would have won.
Yep.
But,
You want to touch? You want to touch on ARCA at Springfield on Sunday? Because I know you guys watched that more than I did.
Yeah, kudos to Brayton Lester. Got I don't know where I can't remember where. I think it was tough. Take a look.
Good for Brayton though.
Let's see. Springfield, give me. Well, what's his name? William Sawallich won the pole and led every single lap. So it really wasn't that exciting of a race.
That's another kid that's going to be really good.
Brayton Lester finished 14th. 2 laps
Still
down.
good.
He actually was running pretty decent on the lead lap there for a while. I think got up to like 10th or 11th there for a little bit. Even Alex Clubb, I know he doesn't get talked about a whole lot because he's kind of another one of the independent guys, but he was running really good. Career day for him. He was running like 7th or 8th. And then Chris Wright, Daddy's money, took him out.
Of course.
In a wreck. So those are really the two guys that I really watch in ARCA these days is Brayton and Clubb. Whenever we know people that have done some stuff with those two teams, two parties respectively. It really did make a difference on the point standings there because Andres Perez did not finish the race. I mean, he finished 16th, 47 laps down due to some overheating issues, and his teammate LeVar Scott got to capitalize on that a little bit. So,
and Venturini made some history, didn't they?
They did. All 4 or 5 drivers, however many they had, were all female. That's the first time there was an all-female team in an oval series race. I know Joe was ready to correct me, saying, no, that's not the first all-female team, because if you look at IMSA, they have the JG Wentworth car. The 877 Cash Now people, yeah, that's a whole female team. That Acura there in that series. So, but this was the first oval team strictly that was all female drivers. So they made some history in that regard. But yeah, Isabella Robusto and Taylor Reimer. Those two ladies finished 2nd and 3rd.
Good for them. Good for them.
Behind William Sawallich. William Sawallich just put a belt whooping on everybody. That race, he led all 105 laps. I mean,
Sawallich is going to be running some JGR races before the end of the year's out.
I think so. Yeah, I think they're waiting on him to turn 18. I think is what that situation is looking like. So they'll put him in an Xfinity car by the end of the year for sure. He's fast. Don't get me wrong. Great talent. Kind of reminds me when Sammy Smith was in that car. So,
yep.
You know, who knows? I think you could look at a lot of things there. So, but I think that pretty much wraps everything up today. I didn't see anything too crazy in the news. And obviously we saw that Canapino officially got fired from Newcoast, and that Connor Daly's taken over that ride. So, and then we talked about Stingray Rob getting the boot for
Malukas.
Thank you. I blanked on that again.
Do you want to touch on the 2025 league schedule and then the Busch Clash being officially at Bowman Gray?
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that league schedule. Hold
on. Let me bring it up. I can bring it up if you want me to.
Yeah, if you could bring it up and then send it to me, I gotta do some looking.
But anyway, you want to start talk when I'm looking for this? You want to talk about the Busch Clash?
I mean, Busch Clash at North Wilkesboro makes sense.
You mean Bowman Gray?
Bowman Gray. Did I say the Coliseum? I don't know what I
He
said.
said Wilkesboro.
Wilkesboro. Wow. Not even anywhere near close. That's great. At least I'm in the same state. Yeah, I mean, the Clash at Bowman Gray makes sense. I mean, they want to keep it at a quarter-mile short track, so quarter-mile short track. Bowman Gray, put it in Carolina. I think it just makes sense for the teams.
A lot of people were saying this today, or since the announcement came out, it's like, well, you're either going to be bundled up in 40-degree weather, or you're going to be sitting there in the 70s at that race.
Pretty much. I mean, that's how the weather is in North Carolina that time of year. It's either hot or cold. Yes or you're no. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to go on to any more singing today. But really, they need to just go back to Daytona. That's how I feel about it. They ain't going. Yeah. I was kind of surprised with them going to Mexico City. I'm not surprised that they're going to Mexico City, by the way. I'm surprised that they're not putting that earlier in the season and putting that as part of the Coda, Phoenix, Vegas swing.
I agree.
Kind of that out west type of West Coast swing that they like to do.
Now, just before we go anywhere further, for the folks at home, this was a leak schedule that came out from, I think, the NASCAR Mexico Series.
Yeah, the NASCAR Latino Series, yeah. This is nothing official.
Nothing official, but they're the ones that leaked it.
Yeah. Now, we did hear a rumor there for a while that Worldwide Technologies Raceway was going to be in playoffs. Wouldn't be surprised if that's 100%.
Looks like the Roval's back again, because I know some people didn't want the Roval back again, but it's back.
You got the Roval. Go to a real road course. Be a man. Go to a real road course. I'm tired of this Roval crap in NASCAR. Go to a real road course.
Dover's moving back to July. How about them apples?
That's interesting.
Iowa's in August.
That doesn't surprise me. Watkins Glen needs to be a regular season race, so that makes sense to me, in all honesty. I'm glad they're getting an Easter break. I kind of wish they had one more off week during the regular season, but
I agree.
Not going to happen.
How about Sonoma after Chicago? I just noticed that myself. It's the first time I noticed that.
Move from Father's Day weekend to the weekend after the 4th. So that's hey, that just means more dirt instead of grass at Sonoma. That's what that means.
Right.
Okay.
Michigan moved up to June, so that may help with their weather situation. Who knows?
Good. Miami being in March doesn't surprise me after I've heard of what they're trying to do to kind of revamp that place and host a championship race in 2026. So it gives them over a year, gives them about a year and a half to really upgrade that place and give it some revisions. So I've heard it's just to the facilities, not to the actual racetrack, folks. Just chill out. Okay.
New Hampshire's moving back into the playoffs.
It needed to be a playoff race. It should have never left as a playoff race. If anything, I kind of agree with this because their weather in July is just awful. It's like the rainy season. So moving it to the playoffs just makes a lot more sense.
I always preferred the September race when they had it originally there for the playoffs.
It's just something with the second time they would go to New Hampshire, even before the Chase era. It just seemed like the fall race always put on a better show. Not sure why. I don't know if it was kind of that, that chase for those last 2 or 3 drivers that were mathematically eligible for the championship. But it just seemed like it was just a better race in the.
And I think the biggest thing out of the playoffs is especially the last round. Talladega is the second to last race in the round of 8, followed by Martinsville.
They really hate NASCAR drivers.
Or as you would say, Jordan Bianchi, chaos.
I mean, that's what they want. That's what they want. That's what they're gonna get. I'm okay with the league schedule. I think it's fine, honestly.
It's all right. I think it's a good balance of everything, to be honest.
Yeah. If you want to put a road course in there so damn bad, go to a real road course. Just do it. Real road racing. Not this fake oval crap. Okay? Fake oval roval stuff.
I agree.
Like, honestly, just put it on the oval because the 600 races there have been great since this next gen car came out.
Yep.
Like, if you don't want to do a 500-mile race, which I understand.
400.
Do a 400-mile race.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fine. I didn't see Texas
Sky,
on the schedule, or was that crazy? Was Texas on?
I think it was in earlier in the year again. Yeah, Texas is after Talladega. It's after the Easter break. Because Talladega is the first race back after the Easter break.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised again that it's not in that West Coast swing with Mexico City. Like, I feel like you would want to hit all those races at the same time. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Tell me if I'm crazy in the chat, but I think it just makes too much sense to.
Brickyard 400 is a weekend later next year too.
Well, I mean, that's kind of where that date has been traditionally. If we think about it, it's either been the first weekend in August or the last weekend in
July.
Always been that way.
And that's gonna be the last race on TNT, right? With the new package, because Amazon will do the first 5 before that, and TNT does the next 5, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there between Amazon and TNT, it's going to be covered. I know that basically the last 12 races, that's going to be all NBC, so they're going to pick it up starting at Richmond.
And Fox has the first 12, and then Amazon TNT.
Counting the All-Star race, they have like the first 12. So
yeah,
non-point races
and the Clash.
point races, they've got the 12. And then it'll be Amazon TNT for that 10-week stretch, and then the last 12 is going to go to NBC. So, it's going to be interesting next NASCAR season. That is for sure. I'm looking forward to it.
And all your qualifyings too are going to be on different networks too, and
so what I heard, the first 12 races. So Fox is going to cover their portion, all practice qualifying race. It's all going to be on Fox.
Really?
But after that, True TV is picking up the bill for all of practice and qualifying for the remainder of the year.
I thought Amazon they were doing practice and qualifying too.
True TV.
True TV? Okay.
That's what I heard. Now, I don't know. It's been a couple months since I've looked at the TV package and the official announcement. But when the initial announcement first came out, I saw it was True TV was going to cover all of practice and Q and Cup after Fox dropped off. So,
okay.
Which, speaking of Fox, who's going to be the redheaded stepchild? IndyCar or NASCAR?
I don't know. That's a good question. That is a very good question.
Think about that. It's going to be IndyCar because it's the least popular series. Sorry, Joe. It's just the reality of the situation. I mean, it is what it is. But it is going to be on Big Fox for Indy 500.
All the races. Yeah,
all the races, but the Indy 500 in particular. So you're going to have their A crew there. Whoever's going to be covering that series.
That's going to be interesting to see over the next couple months who's going to get announced for that.
Last year, and this was an interesting point that DBC brought up this time last year, free agency for spotters and crew members was last year. This year, with the new media contracts, it's all the media people. Now they're taking their time with their media rounds and who's going to go where. Because they have nothing for the CW yet. Nothing announced. Pretty much the only thing that's announced next year for media is Dale Earnhardt Jr. being on Amazon and TNT.
Yep.
That's it.
And then, and obviously Fox keeping their booth. That's maybe like the two big things.
Well, I knew one of the question marks was Mike Joy because he was in a contract year. But I think with Mike, he's kind of from what I've heard. I don't know how true it is, because I love Mike Joy. I've heard that he's going to kind of take a Ken Squire role here in the next couple of years, where he'll do the next year or two, but they're working on finding that predecessor for him to get into after he's out of there. So who that's going to be, I don't know. I've been saying for forever it should be Adam Alexander. Personally, I like Adam Alexander. I think from his time when he was covering Cup races on TNT, where he is now, he's leaps and bounds better. I don't understand the hate for Adam Alexander. I think he's great. He brings a young, fresh perspective into the booth. As much as I love the old hens of Mike Joy and Alan Bestwick, we gotta look to the future. I think he's that guy that could be calling Cup races again, and should be calling races. Lee Diffie, where's he gonna go? I mean, he kind of in their NBC lineup, he got moved to NASCAR. instead of covering IMSA and IndyCar.
Which was official. That was official today. That just came out, but it has been rumored for months that was going to be the case. And then Kevin Lee's going to finish off the IndyCar season, which is not surprising.
Yeah, Kevin Lee has been covering IndyCar for as long as I can remember. He's worked for Fox. He's worked for NBC now for forever. Honestly, before Jimmy Little really took over that booth in ARCA, Kevin Lee was the guy. ARCA there.
I'm trying to think. Wasn't Kevin Lee? Didn't he fill in on Fox for a couple like pit reporter duties for NASCAR, or was that somebody else that I was thinking about?
Yep, he sure did. But he's always kind of been a local guy here in the Indianapolis area. IndyCar's his bread and butter, so when NBC came calling, I don't blame him. Opportunity. You got to cover the series issue. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm interested to see what's going to happen here in the next, next few weeks, next few months, where all that talent's going to go. Hoping that Jeff Burton kind of, doesn't make it through, and that he's not commentating anything. That would be nice. I am not a fan of Jeff Burton. I think NBC let the wrong guy go. There, I said it.
I will agree with you with that. They should have kept Junior.
Oh, well, hold on. So there's one more thing. Steve Letarte is also going to TNT and Amazon.
Was that official?
I've heard like it's basically 80 to 90% official.
Okay.
That it's going to be Letarte, Junior, and then whoever they put a monkey in. I mean, I don't know. People keep saying, come back, Alan Bestwick, come back. I don't know. I would love to see Alan Bestwick come back. Really, I would.
Just imagine that booth, though, of him, Letarte Jr., how good that would be, though.
That would be a solid booth. It really would be. When he called SRX, pretty good job. When he called the Indy 500 this year with Dave Calabro, it was kind of more of a hype man situation. But when him and Vince called the Brickyard, I was able to listen into the radio signal on the IMSPA. Pretty good job. I mean, I thought, Alan was in his element, actually sitting there being able to just call the race. I thought he did a really good job. I don't think he's really missed a beat that much. Could he do it?
I will say that.
Should he do it? I don't know.
It's all going to come down to how much money Amazon may throw at him.
Yeah, well, Amazon and TNT combined, because it's like a TNT production and
True. Amazon
and all that. So, I don't know. I mean, if he wants to do it, I don't care how much money you throw at him. I think he'd do it. It's just a matter if he wants to at his age. That's where we're at this point with it. Personally, I would love it if he's on Fox, because that means he gets the Daytona 500 every year, and I would love for him to be on Fox.
That'd be kind of cool.
As Mike Joy's predecessor, or a successor, that would be nice.
That would be cool.
But I don't know. I mean, who knows where these guys are going to go? Rick Allen may not even have a job this time next year.
I mean, he may take over the CW, but I mean, he's not even one of the candidates as of now for the CW, because I think it's.
I've heard for Adam Alexander, it's either Fox IndyCar or CW. Those are like the top two. So, who knows? He could go anywhere at this point. I would love for them to keep the vibe in the Xfinity series for the most part, like they do on Fox, to where they just have Adam, and then they have drivers for. Or you could rotate them out with maybe a driver and a crew chief. Maybe. Adam Alexander, and I'm being a little bit biased with my picks here, so get mad. Adam Alexander, Chad Knaus, and Brad Keselowski.
I thought you were going to mention Jamie McMurray, but
that was going to be my three. Or Jamie. I mean, honestly, you could put Jamie there. You could put Joey Logano there. I think Brad makes sense because he's a former champion of the series. So there. I think he could have something in TV after he's done, but I don't think he's going to go that route because he's got his race. So
yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I feel like that would be an ideal booth for the CW. You put Adam Alexander, Chad Knaus, and then Jamie McMurray. Why not? Just somebody that's not Michael Waltrip, please.
Yep. And somebody that's not Jamie Little. I'm sorry.
Andy Petrie. I mean, hell, there you go. CW. Adam Alexander, Andy Petrie, and throw in somebody, Jane McMurray. There you go. I don't know. I mean, those three would be pretty. I will say it was nice having Petrie in the booth for the Daytona Xfinity race. I just didn't like how he was choking on RCR.
Well, and I think now that wouldn't be the case.
I don't think that'd be the case either. I think he'll try to condemn RCR for. No, I'm just kidding. But, well, Mike, any final thoughts? We got an hour and 5 into this deal, so I try not to keep it more than an hour.
Well, we just got a busy weekend ahead of racing. We got Xfinity on Friday, Daytona, Cup on Saturday, Daytona, and then Sunday we have ARCA and trucks and IndyCar, and I think Formula One is back this weekend too. I think. I don't think it's going to be heard. I don't think so.
Let's see. Let's try again. Nope, we don't have the sound on it. Hold on. Let me unmute it. Hold on.
Formula.
There we go. All right, cool. It picked up that time. Formula. So there you go. That is all I've got, Mike. Unless you got anything else.
Nope, that's it. They're gonna be the F1's gonna be in the Netherlands. So I mean, we got a whole racing weekend ahead of us.
We might have to bring Scott Ramler in.
Yep. Oh, did you want to do the podcast on Sunday after all the races, or did you want to do a Saturday night special too?
We're still live. We'll probably do that Sunday. Thanks for putting me on the spot.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get the viewers at home.
We will do our best to do Sunday. I really wanted to do it this week on Sunday, but we couldn't get the Cup race in, and I know what you guys want to talk about is Cup, and I have a league. Probably weren't able to Sunday. That's great. We'll do Sunday night after all the racing's done, just to make sure that it's all done and taken care of. But that's it. Thank you to All Star 15 TV and AJ Capola for letting me put this on their channel and to Crash and Trash